Oh.
Kia ora, nau mai hara mai ki roto o tēnei whare. Nau mai hara mai ki roto o tēnei whenua o Norfolk Island, Jules? Norfolk Island?
Ai.
Ai Māori ka tātou. Kia kaha, kia mai, kia manawa nui a tēnei wā. Te kaupapa kei kōnei, o kakariki kaipaipa. Engari, legalise it, yeah?
There is no peace on stolen land. There is blood in the streets poured in the concrete. There is no fairness in law as it stands. There can be no justice so long as we trust this sand. There can be no harmony without resistance. There is no existence. All these constructions are killing me. I say fuck institutions, fuck the police. If my cousin takes a bullet, is it even hurt? You know, no one gave the order, but it was on someone's word. Our perceptions, our conceptions of young men are absurd. Occupancy of your minds are running to funny worlds. And I'm not trying to say that he was without sin, but it was him against the world. Just look at my word and more labels applied on his image of him. It's inherent to be the colonizer within it. There is no peace on stolen land. There is blood in the streets poured in the concrete. There is no fairness in law as it stands. There can be no justice so long as we trust the sand. There can be no harmony without resistance. There is no existence. All these constructions are killing me. I say fuck institutions, fuck the police. Growing up is tough no matter what you do, but when the media spits out an image of you as beast and bird, and then tell me who do you turn to when everyone thinks it's true? I'm not trying to say that this is quite unique. We've all been pushing our margin shoved into our cliques because it happened to you. Don't take it, nothing cheap. You need to care about you to care what your own defeat. There is no peace on stolen land. There is blood in the streets poured in the concrete. There is no fairness in law as it stands. There can be no justice so long as we trust this sand. There can be no harmony without resistance. There is no existence. All these constructions are killing me. I say fuck institutions, fuck the police. FTP, FTP, FTP. Legalize it.
Wow.
Thank you very much. It's very great musical performance to start the show.
And you know, those words are very significant to what we're doing here this evening. Thank you for joining us. You are the resistance. We are the resistance. We're fighting the war. There will be no relief.
And of course, this is a live streamed show. This is going out live onto YouTube through Google Hangouts, and you'll be able to watch it on the Otago Normal YouTube channel, of course, youtube.com/Otago Normal. And
subscribe.
Every week, this show is going to be coming out live just to look at the issue of cannabis legalization around the world and how more and more countries are relaxing their laws, legalizing it for medical reasons, industrial reasons, and recreational reasons. So it's great that you guys have come along as well and taken part in the show, and it's great to have all the people out there watching this on the internet.
Of course, a lot of these viewers will be listeners from our show Overgrown, which plays here on Radio 1, 9 to 11 Friday nights, so you can check it out tomorrow night. This show, we discuss a lot of the similar things we discuss on that particular show.
Yeah, and if you want to get involved in some of these podcasts or maybe be interviewed on any of our shows, you can get in touch with the Cannabis Museum in Caversham, and that's 66 David Street in Caversham, Dunedin. And check out the website cannabis.kiwi.nz. There's a new exhibit at the Cannabis Museum, and I know that's something of interest to everyone here. It was featured on 3 News on Sunday.
How are they doing over there in New Zealand anyway?
Yeah, well, I mean,
of course, we don't necessarily broadcast from any particular one place on the planet. So we could be anywhere.
We like to travel around a lot.
We're the universe.
But of course, you know, in New Zealand, there's still prohibition.
Yeah.
People are using.
I mean, we wouldn't dare break the law over there.
People are still using the internet to buy cannabis, you know, using technologies like Bitcoin.
And the darknet, you say?
The darknet is still really, you know, one of the ways that people are using to get around prohibition. And it means they don't have to meet the drug dealer face to face. It's actually safer to buy drugs off the internet than to deal with the black market and criminals and gangs and that. So, I mean, what did you guys think of the exhibit?
I thought it was really educational. Like, really takes you through, like, understanding why the darknet exists and how it functions, and teaching you how the different applications work, and, like, being able to interact with it, because there's actually a computer that you can use to check out what's going on, to see how it works is really awesome. And all the videos. Yeah, the videos are so educational.
Yeah. And it was great to see on the news the drone.
The drone.
With the tinny delivery.
The drone. Apparently they fielded several calls from South Dunedin residents wanting to subscribe to the drone delivery system. That's still in the workings there, I hear. So no subscribers just yet. So you can stop calling Dave Gooselink at TV3 because he doesn't know anything about it. So please stop calling Dave Gooselink, TV3, asking him to subscribe to the Dunedin Dronatini service.
That was just a prototype for the drone delivery, wasn't it?
It was a prototype.
Essentially, the museum highlighting the future of technology.
Some people got so excited, though. They were so excited. They thought the future is now here. Sign me up. I want Dronatini.
That's right. And yeah, let's hope it just becomes more and more common, and soon people will be able to just order a tinny on their smartphone.
Look, we knew the pilot.
Pick up on their GPS location. The drone will just hover over.
We know the pilot of that particular drone quite well, and I just want to say good on you for doing that. He was balaclavaed up. Actually, it might not even been he. And I just want to implore that young person, because it's a great thing you've done, and you are now in the annuals. Annuals of history, my friend.
Yeah.
You're the first person in.
Immortalized.
Yeah.
I love you, man. You know who you are.
I mean, that's the lengths people are having to go to, is to wear balaclavas to protect their identity, and that's just, again, from fear of arrest. You know?
That's why we are here. We fear arrest. We're human. We're good people. We have careers. Some of us have children.
Now, one positive development is this proposed private members bill from Damien O'Connor, and he's bringing it up within the Labour Party that they should be looking at legalising medical cannabis. Let's hope that he gets some support for this, because they really need to get in behind medical marijuana in New Zealand, because it's been legal in California since 1996.
Wow.
And it's now 2015.
What's made that such a slow transition?
I just don't know. I mean, California has its own system where they have citizens' referendums that are binding on the government, whereas in New Zealand, we don't have binding referendums. So over there, the citizens just voted for it, and they've had it for 20 years. And that's made New Zealand 20 years behind the time. So if we legalise medical marijuana tomorrow, we would be 20 years behind California, basically. And, you know, there's a lot of development that would have to go into opening dispensaries and the technology for growing cannabis and stuff like that. And I guess we feel that we're getting, you know, left in the dark ages, that we can be chucked in jail for doing this, whereas other people are making millions of dollars legally over in the States.
Yeah, it's a fair point.
But yeah,
no one wants to get chucked in jail. And that is why we have come together and why you are watching this show, because you're with us. You are with us. And we really appreciate that. And sometimes you're going to feel like you're alone and you're the only one fighting these unjust laws. We can't have you feel that way because we're with you too. And we're actually, we're with you in more ways than you'll know. So you just remember that and come together with other people like yourself.
We talked a bit earlier about apathy, and how that's really the enemy of the movement, is this apathetical feeling that people have that cannabis is already legal or it's already de facto legalized. And the reality is it's not legal in New Zealand. It's still against the law. And just because the police are going easy on personal use, it doesn't mean that it's legal to grow or to sell it. And these people are still taking a huge risk when they grow it, aren't they?
Maybe just if you have good experiences with it, doesn't mean everyone else has. If you've never had a run-in with the police and you're just like, everything's fine. Like, even like I met a guy the other day who won't go to Queenstown because of what a high bus rate they have.
Yeah.
And he's just like paranoid of it at all. And I like went to Queenstown and was there, and like it was like, nah, nothing. There's nothing to fear. And it was just like, whoa, like a really harsh realization of it is really frightening. And other people have really negative experiences with it. And it's just because it's okay for you doesn't mean that you shouldn't stand in solidarity with them.
There's still people going through court regularly for it. And there needs to be that grassroots movement that's sort of telling the politicians that this isn't okay. If everyone's like, oh, they've already de facto legalized, then no one's going to complain to the MPs and put pressure on them to actually do anything about the law.
We have like quite strong links to Aotearoa down there in the Pacific. And I hear there's only one political party that is able to guarantee that if they got in, weed would be legalized overnight. And that party, I think I could say it. Are we a political show? Fuck if I know. ALCP, Aotearoa Legalized Cannabis Party.
That's right, the Cannabis Party. And the Cannabis Party's been going since 1996, and it's really giving the voters that option every election. If they're just sick of all the other parties in Parliament, there's this party that can come in, and it's actually a serious party because there's so many different uses of industrial hemp, medical marijuana, recreational cannabis, and the benefits for the economy. It's going to free up police to focus on other crimes. So there would be so many benefits of having the Cannabis Party in Parliament, and I really hope that we get MPs.
ALCP, the numbers are on the rise. There's a movement, and that's why we're trying to give to you, the viewer, a little bit of encouragement to not feel alone, because there's about 400 billion other people out there who also smoke cannabis. Your teachers, your lawyer, the person that cleans your garbage out of their sidewalk, footpaths we call them here in New Zealand. Sidewalks, those people smoke weed too. Because if you start to feel alone, you're going to get depressed, and we can't have that now. We need people fighting fit.
That's the truth.
People like this man right here who's fighting.
You want to take this one?
Yeah.
As you know, the show's pretty off the cuff here. We can tell you we're not in Aotearoa. We are in somewhere in the Northern Hemisphere, and people come and go in the show and discuss things. There's several people gathered out in the auditorium, and we will be watching marijuana-themed movies. We've got questions coming in via Twitter, Facebook, and a whole lot of other social media.
Twitter.
What are the addresses?
Otago.
Man,
know the addresses?
just message us on YouTube. Geez, I don't know. There's some there.
Yeah.
Overgrown at twitter.com. That's our radio show.
Cool.
I know that. 477-1969 if you want to call us tomorrow night. The lines are always open. And we're ready to discuss ways to make their wall crack.
Twitter is at Otago Normal, at OTAGO NORML.
Great. Here's a question. Oh, we've got a question coming in. Where can I buy dope, you wankers? Well, for a start, you haven't told us where you are.
Hard to send it to nowhere.
Look, we have the facilities to get it to you, but you need to let us know where you are. I am not youfriend.com, whoever you are. Next question. Any more questions? No, that's all so far.
But you were talking about the war on drugs and how that's sort of like a war on consciousness. I mean, do you think that's the main reason drugs are illegal?
I think it certainly lends itself to keeping them illegal. Yeah, so I guess at the moment, governments use drug laws in order to, hold back those that want to explore their own minds and think about things with different perspectives and, potentially think way outside of the system we currently have constructed. And I think at the moment, the mechanisms of change are non-existent within governmental structures. They're deliberately designed to allow money to influence them, to control them. So finding methods in order to come together. I think the main way we can really overcome the problem, guys, and I think this is brilliant why I'm here today, and it's cool to see so much support and positivity for the legalization movement, is that coming together and demanding the change we want to see in large groups of people is really and truly the only way it's going to happen. And so by meeting together, by talking about this openly, by challenging people's often preconceived and propaganda created fears, engaging them and debunking a lot of the myths around marijuana in particular, but, for instance, all the drug laws and all the drugs themselves, we can allow people to start openly and without fear or guilt exploring their consciousness and, hopefully experience some type of mass global revolution where we all decide that together we do want to change the system as a whole and in fact, I think build new systems that will make the old ones defunct. I think that's really the change we can create, and it's cool because we're creating one right here. You guys are putting this on. Thanks for having me.
Geez, true word has never ever been spoken on this show. Did I say smoking?
we can roll it up and smoke it, man.
Speaking of which, we're not in Aotearoa, so the laws that apply to perhaps you watching in New Zealand don't exist to us.
We're very lucky here in Ganja Island.
If you want legalization, unfortunately, you have to travel far away from New Zealand.
Which is such an absurd notion, I must say. Such an absurd notion with a country that has such a strong smoking population and of young, talented people. We are disproportionately hit with stupid laws, aren't we?
It's real hard to
Love
do this.
peace and
I didn't think about this, did I?
reggae music.
Reggae music, yeah, man, absolutely. Our amazing blend of Pacific Island and Maori and European culture has created this, style of music which is unique to this corner of the world, and but often talks about marijuana and loving the substance and sharing it.
Do you need a lighter?
Yes, it would seem I do.
A lighter.
Wherever you are this evening, wherever you're listening or viewing this transmission from,
Thanks, man.
we ask that right now you spark something like this, perhaps a bong, perhaps some knives, perhaps some hot dabs if you're watching this from Colorado.
Ooh, the
Maybe
dabs.
And do it with us, because this is how we protest. This is the bullet of freedom.
The
All right.
torch of freedom. Yeah.
In fact, I'm gonna pass it to my left and get this fine young man to start this little rocket ship I prepared earlier on my kitchen table. Geez, we just hope you're safe. We hope you're not feeling persecuted by these stupid laws that might still exist in your country too. We're just here to tell you that they're not going to exist for much longer.
Together we can all overcome it, and this is a fine example of people standing up and fighting against it, and it's beautiful to be a part of it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, definitely. It's great that there's places in the world where it is legal now that we can visit, and with modern technology we've been able to look at some of the different grow rooms that we've visited and look at some of these buds.
We do have the names and addresses of these people that sent the stuff in, and we might give them out later on, so you can go around and see them and say hello, but not till later.
Quite a good thing about smoking as a way of ingesting marijuana. You know, when you watch the smoke, and it's actually quite a fascinating thing.
Yeah, it is, isn't it, man? That's something you notice when you have a big cloud of smoke, the intricate mathematical designs.
Seeing the air being pushed and pulled by your very breath out, and realizing that each one is you consuming oxygen and surviving and living as well.
And the ultimate is doing the smoke rings, of course. If you practice, you can blow smoke rings. And that can be quite impressive, just seeing that donut shape just holding its form.
That is a very hard skill, but a reward for those that can conduct it, eh?
Yeah, it's not often that you pull it off.
If we've got any viewers out there that can pull it off, you should text us in. Show us link us your best smoke ring video.
Let's go to the lines here. Oh, we've got a question. What the fuck are you doing with the thing on your face? No, I answered that last time. Sorry, answered it last time. I just want to say we're militants. These are my Marine friends. We're at war. There is a war on drugs. You're fighting against the war on drugs. Yeah. We are fighting against a war in our minds, as our colleagues have said today. We're just fighting. And similar to what they're doing in Greece right now, we're going to be fighting.
Yeah, it's a scary one. Like it being a war, a literal war, you know, and when often you are, you know, say often it's the indigenous species, the people who colonize the land are often the ones who are worst hit by a lot of these drug laws and a lot of the problems for society faces, you know. And so, you know, unfortunately, Maori people are, you know, disproportionately locked up in prison. And it's sad. It's sad to see. You know, these are the people that tended the land that then we are coming in and living on. We should all be sharing it evenly and fairly. And you know, the people that first lived here are thrown aside from that. And so yeah, it really is a war. And but hey, you know, every day you realize the change you can create around you. You try and apply that change and live as best you can, and you realize that some things are out of your control as well, and don't get bogged down in it, because I think it's coming back to the apathy thing, guys. I think that's something that can often really bog us down, is if you get to a point where you're so oversaturated with kind of negative information, or you can often get yourself into a bad headspace where you know, you might not necessarily see hope or see any reason to try. That's often the biggest pit of apathy I think I see around me. And yeah, it's but it all links to the same kind of outcome, where it can often you know, stop any positive movement forward, and you know, doing anything in your own life, breaking out from that. So yeah, remember, guys, together we can do this. Hope. Working together, one love. It really is a tried and true saying.
Give some of our protester colleagues, you know, just to show that we're not alone. There's people up in Wellington that have been protesting outside the Supreme Court of New Zealand. So every week people are holding 420 smoke-up protests outside the Supreme Court. And that's just more people just publicly getting involved in civil disobedience to really just bring it to the public attention. And some people think it's a bit radical, just going out and smoking in public, but that's what's been happening in Dunedin, and it's now spreading to other places because people are so fed up with trying to use all the traditional legitimate channels of lobbying MPs and that.
Yeah, and I think we need to make it public, because if we don't end the kind of social taboo on smoking, if we don't kind of challenge the perception that's, you know, that marijuana smoking shouldn't be done in public, then we're ultimately going to be enslaved by that principle, I think. So I think it is kind of important to have these public displays and to normalize it for the substance it is and should be. as a recreational drug, obviously, medicinally speaking, this thing's amazing, and there's absolutely no reason why you should ever keep it from people who require it, which is another absurd part about our drug war, right?
Yeah. And this is just another example of the sort of protests that are happening over in Canada. They've been having thousands of people out in Vancouver at their Cannabis Day protests, and it's just a worldwide movement now.
Should we broadcast from there next week? Should we go there?
Yeah, we could do a feature on that. Yeah.
Next week, coming from Canada.
And of course, it's that
Canadians.
whole region, weed's getting legalized in Alaska and Oregon, Washington,
Portland.
So you've got basically the whole west coast of North America legalizing cannabis, I reckon. So it's a great part of the world to visit now.
Tide's turning, eh? It's good. We just need to get on that wave.
We're about halfway through the show. We don't broadcast for too long, just enough to give you a little hit.
We'll probably finish off with another musical interlude. The reason we're not playing music off our iPod is because of copyright reasons. We can only play original music on the show, so hence the live music at the start, and that was a really good addition to the show.
It's beautiful.
That song was powerful. His lyrics were really heartfelt. It was a beautiful song. Totally agree. It was incredible.
Yeah, definitely. And it's good to have all the supporters here. And
there's so many.
Not all of them want to come on camera. There's just crowds of people.
It's quite hard to find us a lot too, because of course we're secret locations, very secret, and very hard to find us. But we find these groups. We gravitate and we do things around the studio. We plan what we're gonna. Our topics, everything is planned.
I don't know about that.
I'd like to think we, have a bit of looseness in the script so we can still, feel our personalities through. But a plan is important, right? Prevents piss poor performance.
Freedom. I wonder what that tastes like.
Now, this is a picture of Greg O'Connor. This is the Police Association.
He's clocked up some frequent flyer miles this week, hasn't he?
Yes, and he was in the news for visiting Colorado this week, and he's been doing extensive touring around Colorado to investigate what it's like when cannabis gets legalized, because he realizes that it's going to happen in New Zealand eventually, and police have to be prepared for that transition. So I think it's good that Greg O'Connor's gone over there and he's been educating himself. And you can see more of his videos up on our website, cannabis.org.nz. And that's the Aotearoa Legalised Cannabis Party website. And he's actually the cousin of Damien O'Connor, the MP that wants to legalise medical marijuana. So both the O'Connor guys are really, showing a strong interest in cannabis legalisation now.
Perhaps they're going to produce it when they legalise it.
And this is, of course, the same guy that wants all police to have guns. So I think
maybe he wants to. He's got a lot of money. He can build big factories.
I think it'd be safer to legalise weed than to arm police.
And the people that used to lock us up for smoking weed will now be selling it to us.
Yeah.
And they'll just have one ginormous factory with a line down the centre. They'll have weed on one side growing, and then they'll have hemp guns on the other.
This sounds funny, right? This sounds funny. But this is what's going to happen. And you know what? The penalties for growing marijuana will go even higher. Because not only would you have grown marijuana, but you would have taken on the system with your own game.
I would just love to see
they'll throw you in jail.
just growing everywhere naturally.
You're not wrong.
Spread the seeds everywhere.
It is growing everywhere.
Yeah. But I mean,
overgrow, ladies and gentlemen.
It comes back to complacency. You can't just be complacent about the current politicians just going to legalise weed. We really need to see the Cannabis Party get MPs. Otherwise, they're just going to charge thousands of dollars for the licence to grow weed, and it's going to be inaccessible to the
Yeah.
average grower. So
Unless Greg O'Connor and some.
unless there's a party in Parliament like the Aotearoa Legalised Cannabis Party, then we're not going to see the right regulations. We're going to see the big corporate takeovers. We're going to see the fees just get out of control. And it's like that with the legal highs. You have to spend over $1 million to get some legal highs tested. And that's basically shut down the whole industry. So we hopefully won't see the same thing with cannabis. We need people in Parliament that are going to understand the cannabis issue. Eh?
Tick the leaf. Tick the leaf. ALCP.
That's right.
Good friends of ours. We know them. We don't necessarily see them a lot, but we know them.
Good people to know.
Right, so what do stone people do?
What's that?
What do stone people do?
What do stone people do?
So there's just people turning up left, right, and centre here. There's a large gathering of cannabis enthusiasts. There seems to be some kind of vapor coming from the auditorium. We've got our friend here. People coming in. It's just mayhem.
So how's the show gone tonight, guys?
It's been quite fun.
Riveting and
Let's have a quick recap for our viewers.
mihi, song, Wera Waiata.
Oh, it was beautiful.
It's a good song. FTP.
We're talking about apathy, the war on the mind, half winning the war of apathy. And with these little streams, is how you do it.
And the Damien O'Connor bill, the private members bill.
You talked about that.
Yeah, we mentioned that.
What about the Alex Renton Memorial Service?
No, we haven't talked about that yet.
So Alex Renton, the Nelson teenager who was in a coma and who was given special dispensation by Associate Health Minister Peter Dunn to use medical cannabis, passed away, unfortunately, a couple of weeks ago. And his memorial service was held in Nelson this last weekend, and apparently it was absolutely huge. And there was so many people from all over the country traveling to pay their respects to Alex, because he became sort of a beacon for the medical cannabis movement, for all the people who support the idea of legal access to medical cannabis. Even if they didn't know him or don't know his family, they felt like they had to be there.
Yeah, there was certainly something in the news that turned a lot of heads, and really, because what was the official outcome? He was granted the pharmaceutical equivalent from America, Civex. I can't remember.
Sativex is
Sativex.
what we are allowed now, which
Okay.
which they didn't think was suitable for him,
Okay.
because it had too much THC. And so what they did allow him was to specially import a formulation from the States called Epidolex,
Okay.
which is very high CBD, 18% CBD.
Okay.
And that's actually made from hemp plants. They would be considered hemp in New Zealand because the THC content is so low that they would qualify as hemp. So what he was actually taking was an extract of hemp, not even sort of illicit black market cannabis. And there were signs of improvement for him, but unfortunately, too little too late, I think. And he sadly passed away. But it sounds like you guys have had a great show.
Yeah.
And I hope our listeners and viewers have enjoyed the show.
Thanks for
And
having me.
we'll be back with you next week.
All the best.
Kia ora.